There's a classified pattern they don't want you to see. Every major breakthrough in human history came after someone decoded their depression instead of medicating it away. This isn't self-help nonsense, it's a conspiracy hiding in plain sight. Your depression isn't a malfunction. It's a sophisticated alarm system screaming that you're built for something your current reality can't contain. What I'm about to reveal will make you question everything you've been told about mental health. How to use depression as the compass it was always meant to be. Let's start where most people are too scared to go. Because the truth is, your depression has been trying to save you, and you've been fighting it like an enemy. Here's what the system doesn't want you to understand. Depression is selective. It doesn't attack randomly. It targets the gap between your authentic self and the performance you're putting on for the world. It's a precision strike on everything fake in your life. Winston Churchill navigated Britain through humanity's darkest war while battling what he called his black dog. But here's the twist. Nobody tells you that darkness kept him grounded in reality while others lived in delusion. His depression was a gift disguised as a curse because it made pretending impossible. Power Law 48 teaches, assume formlessness. Your depression is forcing you to dissolve the rigid identity you built to survive. It feels like death because it is death. The necessary murder of who you pretended to be so who you actually are can breathe. The Stoics understood something radical. Suffering isn't the problem. Meaningless suffering is. Your depression isn't cruel. It's incredibly specific. It's showing you exactly where your life has drifted off course. Here's your fourth practical action, and it's the most dangerous. In the next 30 days, commit to one concrete move that your current life makes impossible, but your real life demands. Could be starting that business, leaving that relationship, moving to that city, having that confrontation. One action your depressed self knows must happen, but your functional self keeps avoiding. Because here's the final secret they'll never tell you. Depression doesn't lift when you fight it. It lifts when you follow where it points, not surrender. Collaboration. You stop asking, why am I broken? And start asking, where is this trying to take me? The answer will terrify you, because it usually involves dismantling the life you work so hard to build. But that life was constructed under false instructions. Depression is your internal GPS recalculating because you missed the exit miles ago. If this shifted something, share it with someone suffering in silence. Drop that like, subscribe, hit the bell. But most importantly, type, I'm walking through in the comments and tell me, what's the first concrete step you're taking in the next 7 days? Because information without action is just entertainment. Your depression isn't your ending. It's your beginning, but only if you have the courage to read the map instead of burning it. Why? Depression might be your admission ticket to your real life. Now, we go deeper into territory that makes people uncomfortable. Because there's a pattern throughout history that nobody wants to acknowledge. The people who changed everything carried a melancholy that ordinary people couldn't comprehend. Charles Darwin spent decades battling what we'd now call severe depression, but it was precisely in that forced isolation, that inability to function in the normal world, that he developed the theory that revolutionized our understanding of existence. Depression removed him from the rat race and placed him in a different observatory. Here's what they don't tell you. Depression can be a death process, but not your physical death. It's the death of a false version of you that the world insisted you become. It's the necessary assassination of the persona you built to survive, but that's slowly killing you. Think about ENSYS Rule 39. There's no such thing as coincidence. It's not coincidence that your depression worsens when you're doing exactly what you should be doing. The stable job you hate, the relationships that drain you, the routine that numbs you. Your psyche is actively sabotaging a life that doesn't serve who you really are. Ancient Stoic wisdom said something revolutionary. It's not events that disturb us, but our interpretation of them. Your depression isn't caused by weakness. It's caused by unexpressed strength, unused talent, undiscovered purpose. It's the rage of unrealized potential. But here's the dark side of this truth. Accepting this call has a cost. You'll have to disappoint people, abandon emotional investments, admit you wasted years chasing someone else's life. Depression is the initial price. The courage to act is the ongoing payment. Here's your second practical action. Identify one thing in your life you do because you should, not because you want to. An obligation, a relationship, a commitment that drains you. Over the next 7 days, experiment with reducing your exposure to it by 50%. Watch if the depression eases. This isn't conventional therapy. It's recognition that you might be depressed. Not because something's wrong with you, but because everything's wrong around you. And if that's true, the solution isn't adjusting better to the prison, it's planning your escape. Abraham Lincoln battled depression so severe his friends removed sharp objects from his presence. Yet, he became the president who held a fracturing nation together, not despite the darkness, but because it showed him the weight of what was at stake. When others saw only politics, but understanding this requires decoding a signal most people spend their lives jamming. And what comes next reveals exactly how to tune into that frequency. Why you need to decode this signal before the window closes. Let's talk about what actually happens when you ignore this alarm. Because there's a point of no return, and most people cross that line without realizing it. Think about Sylvia Plath. She had an intensity that made people uncomfortable, a refusal to play small, a depression that society couldn't tolerate. Instead of listening to what that darkness was revealing, that she was in the wrong place, surrounded by the wrong people, she was pathologized and medicated. Her story is a warning. Power Law 25 advises, recreate yourself constantly, but depression does the opposite. It freezes you in a state of paralysis. And here's the conspiracy. That paralysis isn't random. It's your nervous system trying to stop you from digging deeper into a life that isn't yours. But if you don't act, depression changes nature. It stops being an alarm and becomes your identity. You shift from experiencing depression to I'm a depressed person. And that's the final trap. When depression becomes your comfort zone, your excuse, your central narrative. Here's something that sounds cruel but is true. Every year you spend ignoring this call, your soul settles a bit more into mediocrity. Not because you're not capable, but because resignation grows like moss over your potential. The depression that could have been your catalyst becomes your epitaph. The Stoics had a concept called memento mori, remember you will die. Not to scare you, but to wake you up. Your depression is your personal version of this, an urgent reminder that time is passing and you're still not living your real life. Here's your third practical action, your own obituary, but in 2 versions. First version, if you continue living exactly as you are now. Second version, if you had the courage to follow what your depression is trying to reveal. Read both. Feel the difference. There's a reason pharmaceutical companies make billions keeping you medicated rather than decoded. A person who reads their depression correctly becomes ungovernable. They stop consuming the right things, working the right jobs, wanting the right life. They become dangerous to a system built on compliance. Before moving forward, hit that like if something here is landing. Type awakened in the comments if you're ready to stop medicating the message and start decoding the map. Also tell me, what part of your life do you know you need to abandon, but are scared to? Don't hold that answer. Sharing it is the first step. Because what comes next is the most dangerous and most liberating part. What to do when you finally understand the message. How your depression hides the truth. Nobody dares to speak. Let's begin with something that will sound disturbing. What if I told you your depression is intelligent? Not in the pathological sense medical manuals describe, but as a sophisticated biological alarm system detecting a fatal mismatch between who you are and the life you're living. Think about it. Your body doesn't develop fever randomly, it's a response to invasion. Your mind doesn't crumble without reason, it's a visceral rejection of a reality that betrays your potential. The epidemic depression plaguing millions isn't just a convenient chemical imbalance for the pharmaceutical industry. It's a collective existential crisis where powerful souls are trapped in small lives. Here's the silent conspiracy. They taught you to medicate the symptom, not read the message. They sold you the idea that you're broken, when actually, the system around you is fractured. Like Power Law 38 teaches, think as you like, but behave like others. Depression is your psyche refusing to follow that lying script. Look at Vincent van Gogh. Before revolutionizing art, He struggled with waves of devastating melancholy. But that darkness wasn't empty, it was pregnant with perceptions that normal minds would never reach. He saw layers of reality others ignored because they were too busy being functional. Your depression is doing the same. It's revealing the cracks in the facade, showing where your life is misaligned with your destiny. It's a GPS recalculating the route because you took the wrong turn miles back. Here's your first practical action. Over the next 3 days, when depression hits, don't run from it. Grab a notebook and write. What is this feeling trying to show me about my current life? Treat it like a secret informant, not an enemy. Most people spend their entire lives silencing this alarm with distractions, medications, or denial. But you're not most people. You're here because something inside you knows there's gold buried in this darkness. The Japanese have a concept called kintsugi, repairing broken pottery with gold, making it more valuable than before. Your depression is the breaking. What comes next is learning where to pour the gold. And what I'm about to reveal will show you exactly where to start. Disclaimer: this content is for educational and reflective purposes. Depression is a serious condition requiring professional support. If you're in crisis, seek help from a qualified mental health professional immediately.